What is going on, people? What is going on? I was looking at
First
the
off,
wrong page.
first
Again.
off, this is our second time trying that. So you guys are probably like, why did we start so late? Well, because Ken and Paul we are pretty much idiots. We were
Hey, I have no control over this. You have all.
Don't put this on me,
You have all the
Feinberg.
power. All right,
Don't
sorry.
put this on me.
You know what,
So
I'll-
basically,
my
what
fault.
happened was we started the stream. I thought I hit live. We never hit live, and we were going through the whole thing, and we thought we were replying to your comments, and nobody even knew what we were saying. Oh, that was dizzy. All right, so tonight we've got an awesome show for you. We've got Chris Brockhurst in the house tonight. We've got Geeks Vana later on tonight. Chris is here, so I say, what do you say? Let's bring him in. I think he's ready.
He's ready.
He's ready. Let's
Get
do
your
it.
food out, guys.
I just got the thumbs up. Paul, we're going to get to your drink here in a moment. But without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the man of simplistic tutorials, Chris Brockhurst. Chris, what's going on, man?
How's it going, guys?
It's going, man. I'm digging that new set.
Thanks. Yeah, played around with it today. Got it good for you.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm digging the light. Is that light permanent or is that something you're putting? I saw you messing around with that.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like gaff taped to the ceiling with a hook.
Really?
So it maybe permanent. We'll see. I like it though. It adds a little bit of a glow. I like it.
Yeah, like a little bit of backlighting, sort of. I
Exactly,
sort of
yeah.
dig that. What's going on, man? So how you been?
Not bad, not bad. You know, living the dream.
I hear that.
Busy, incredibly busy right now, actually, but it's all good.
That's a good thing. Now,
Yeah.
you specifically, you do real estate photography. You take on a lot of clients besides YouTube. YouTube's one thing, but you do a lot of stuff outside of YouTube. So what do you do outside of YouTube? Because I sort of see you sort of blend in some tutorials here and there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Weddings is a big thing for me. Real estate stuff as well. Corporate gigs, promo videos for gyms. I actually have a part-time job as well.
Really?
YouTube. Yeah. So I'm busy, man.
That is awesome. Which is of all the videos that you do outside of YouTube, what is your favorite to do?
I actually really enjoy weddings.
Really?
Really enjoy. Yeah. Some people hate them. Some people put a lot of hate on weddings, but no, I actually quite enjoy them. The days go really fast. You learn a lot throughout a day, and every day is different. You get to use a ton of gear. Yeah, I love weddings. Yeah.
So now when you do weddings, do you go through and do those shoots with multiple people? Is it usually a 2-person gig?
Yeah, my wife actually. My wife and I.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like we have a company and we've been doing it 4 years now. And,
nice.
Yeah, my wife and I.
That is awesome, man. So what, when you do the weddings, what is your go-to camera of choice right now for weddings? You're doing videos or photos and video?
Videos. Right now, obviously A7 III for now. A7S III, whenever it arrives, will be the new A cam, hopefully.
I know, we're all waiting for that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen everyone getting this. No, mine didn't ship.
What's up with that, man? Where did you order yours from?
B&H. The second it went live, and I kind of feel like they're shipping the people that get in the States first. I don't know.
No, because Paul, when did we order the A7S III?
Didn't order ours until July 31st. So
shit, we may get screwed. We may be screwed.
You'll wait until next year.
Well, the funny, the website says back ordered, but then it says in the bottom in red font, coming soon, ships September 24th. So I have
that is weird though, that people are getting their ship notifications, unless if they set up priority shipping or something like that. I don't know.
Mine just changed yesterday. It went from being back ordered to what does it say? I've been checking it every 2 hours. It now just says order in progress. So I'll take it.
That's got to be shipping. That's got to be Paul. See if ours changed. Probably not.
Right now, I gotta.
Probably not. I have limited hope that that's going to ship. I may end up having to seek elsewhere, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I'm like, okay, where do I check tomorrow to see who has it in stock, and I'll just drive down and grab it.
The problem is, do you pay tax on that up there?
The red bottom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I pay tax.
You gotta pay tax on that.
B&H is actually amazing. They ship all they calculate all the taxes for you, and you prepay it with them, so you don't have to pay anything at customs. It just gets straight through to your address. So it's pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Now you're up in Canada.
Despite the accent.
And
I apologize. I don't have beer. I have wine.
That's fine. So, that's fine. Yeah. We're gonna allow the wine. Paul, what are you drinking, Paul?
I'm drinking hard cider.
Oh,
Ciders, Paul.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's better than last week, Paul. I think you tried to pull a bit of a ruse over me. I don't know what that was.
I was drinking the same exact thing. Actually, it's sitting on my shelf over here for good measures.
Oh, is it that you're finally undone?
did you make that label?
Dude, how good is that? I did not catch that.
It looks legit.
When he showed me that label the first time, I didn't catch that he made this like for the Gerald stream. I totally missed that because I was nice butt crack, Paul.
So Paul, what did you make for me?
Yeah, what do you got for Chris?
Oh,
well, the funny thing was I wanted to do it and I couldn't think of a clever name, so I just picked the guest for that night.
So
that's good.
So Chris, one of the reasons why I have you on the stream tonight, because I want to talk about simplistic filmmaking, because I feel like your channel, among most of the channels that I watch in like the creative space, nails down simplicity. Like the way you present things, you don't really focus on the color grade or like all the technical stuff. To me, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like you're trying to get as much right in camera and make life so much simpler than what I see across the board. I feel like a lot of people overcomplicate creation, and it can be a bit of a turnoff to people that are just starting. But then I watch videos from you, and I'm like, okay, color's good, everything's exposed right out of the camera. So how?
I mean, that's the goal. If it looks that way, that's great.
But it does.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes into it, like just to even start filming. And I see when people get new cameras, they want to use like the most intense settings. They want to go straight to S-Log 2, like before they even learn the basics of using the camera. So I've always just kind of targeted people as like the beginners and getting to know their cameras and using it like simply before they really try and get in details, in deep with all the details and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, I just try and keep it simple, really. Like let the camera do the work.
Creative style.
What's that? Sorry.
You still use the autumn creative style?
I've moved away from autumn leaves now. I've been using neutral recently, and even standard, like -1 saturation, -2 contrast, or something like that. I have been playing around, I will say that, with picture profiles recently, but nothing too intense. I'm kind of prepping for S-Log 3 on the A7S III.
Do you think you'll migrate? So I tried Caleb Pike's S-Log, and it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. Like I never.
Did you get it to play? I couldn't get it to play.
What his S-Log settings?
I tried Josh Yao's video that he put, and it would not play on my iMac. Like it's just
really,
yeah. Like I know I can turn it to, I can transcode it or proxy it, but again, like I try not to do that kind of thing. I try and just straight from camera, straight to the edit.
You're saying the S-Log.
No. I'm talking about with the A7 III. So Caleb
A7 III.
Yeah. Caleb Pike put out a video recently talking about, how the best S-Log settings for, and everybody says that, right? Everybody says, make this really clicky title, and then you watch it. But then I started watching his video, and it was pretty transparent. He talked about all the nerdy things behind the color science. So I was like, you know what, let me put this in motion. Because I think one of the things when you buy a Sony camera, one of the things I hate about Sony cameras is that they are so customizable. There's so many picture profiles. You go down picture holes. I don't know what to call them, but that's what happens. And you try profile after profile.
Yep.
You find one that looks good, and then you'll move to different lighting or something changes, and then it looks like shit.
Yeah, I agree hugely. Yeah.
So
I've always said, and this is why I think people love Canon so much. Using a Sony is like using an Android phone. Using a Canon is like using an iPhone.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's like you can get amazing stuff out of it, but you really have to know how to dig down deep and nail it in camera.
Right.
But no, I'm going to take a look at that and see. I haven't really played around with S-Log.
It was really good. It was really good. My biggest problem with S-Log is either I get a lot of noise, or I start getting that banding. When you try to increase the saturation.
Yep.
So I've tried it where I've even tried Donna's settings where he's like, all right, max out the saturation, give that a go. And that worked for a little bit, but it was a little bit too extreme. So I switched it over to Caleb's settings, and I got to say, skin tones, everything looks so flattering. You definitely are getting much more dynamic range. I don't have to saturate it anymore. I'm not even bumping saturation up in the camera.
No,
and it just looks good.
Shadows and highlights.
Everything just looks good. So it sort of made me think, like, is the A7S III even worth really dabbling with for the price because, who's going to notice it, right? Who's going to notice it except for us?
Well, that's the thing. Who does notice it? The only people that ever notice. It's the same with the 180-degree rule. The only people that ever notice it is us. Give it to the client, they can't tell.
Which is really funny. I saw Vu Nugent's video on that, and how he's getting so much flack in the comments for
his wedding.
No, he posted a video pretty much saying that you can break the 180-degree rule as long as most of the frame is like straight, like where there's not a lot of movement, or like interviews. And he shows examples of when he does it in weddings, and
I agree.
Shows footage of him breaking the rule, and you can't tell, but people, the snobs out there making fun of him and giving him a hard time.
The thing I get kicked around a lot is mostly never with the 180 rule, but I get kicked around a lot about frame rate. I like 24 or 23. I mean, to me, it just looks more pleasing. If you can nail that and you don't have to break the shutter rule there, I think you can get away with it and it looks great. A lot of people that fly drones, they don't like it because those fast moving objects, it can be a little bit too much blur. What are you shooting? You shooting 30 or are you shooting 24?
24.
24. Okay.
Always 24. Yeah. I mean, for weddings, I'll shoot. So for weddings, for the most part, we normally run with 2 cameras.
Okay.
B camera, normally, people are going to hate this, 120 frames per second the entire day.
Really?
Yep. A camera, 24, and then I'll swap to 60 or mostly 120 now and then, just change the dial around.
So the 24 is for the audio, the talking shots that you're overlaying?
Talking shots, ceremony, like that kind of stuff, right? But you throw in 120 frames per second with that, and especially for a ceremony where there really isn't a lot of movement, they just stood up at the front, you can't tell the difference. You honestly can't tell the difference. So I don't know why people worry so much, because you put these limits on yourself, and when it comes to filming, you now have to worry about the camera settings opposed to actually what's happening in front of you.
What's happening?
Yeah. So that's what I try and think is like, my goal is to capture that opposed to what the camera's settings actually are.
And I think that right there, like I want to emphasize that for anybody who's watching, because there's a lot of people that are, that follow me because of real estate or they follow for creation. And that I think is the biggest thing, is to really worry more about what's in front of you than necessarily the settings, because a lot of that you can fix in post.
Oh yeah.
Or again, who's going to notice it? The vast majority of people are probably not going to notice half of what we're even talking about right now anyways.
That's it.
So it doesn't matter truly too much. So with weddings, and I'm asking this specifically because my brother and I were just booked for one. I've never shot a wedding. He shot a few of them.
Okay.
I've never shot a wedding. I'm mostly real estate, and he shot a few of them. So beginner, total noob with that, what would you recommend? What's a typical wedding video sort of breakdown, start to finish, more or less?
Like, I mean, in terms of filming it, in terms of editing it?
How long, what is an expectation of a client, like as far as how long the video should be, essentially? Everyone's
different, really. Like we produce a 5 to 7 minute highlight film, and a highlight film is it's a story-driven film with background music. You'll often have speeches in there, letters from the couple to each other, that kind of thing, really. Some people produce what's called like a doc edit as well, where it's more like an hour and a half long video.
Oh boy,
anything up to 2 hours. You get all the speeches, all the ceremonies. Some people like that. I actually try and talk clients out of that sometimes, because they're paying a lot more money for something that they're likely never going to watch again. And a bigger reason why I do that is 90% of our business is referrals. So I want people to be happy. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. Dark. So I don't think she's wanting that. I've noticed a lot of videographers have backed off of filming, simply because of obviously with COVID and everything. It's a lot different. It's not the most pleasing environment, to host a wedding. I'm in Florida, probably one of the worst places for any of this. But they're pressing forward, and videographers are dropping October 10th.
Okay.
So it's still pretty hot down here. It's still pretty hot. Again, I was hoping to have the camera because 4K 60 would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
The 120, I don't know if I'm sold on, because I've seen some people make it overheat on the A7S III, but I don't know if I'd want to actually render out.
I don't think you need 4K 120 yet. I think 4K 60 is enough. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's more than enough.
Yeah. As long as you can get cards that support that speed, because I think you have to have special cards, right?
What do we got to have the G Master cards, Paul, that we got?
For 120 on the A7 S3.
That's if you're doing intra, like all intra, all I.
I don't know. I think you can get 120, but not on those higher codecs. I think you have to do. I think the CF the CF Express the
type, you need the CF
Type A
Express.
or Type B, whatever they're called.
But
right?
they don't even have readers for those yet. I don't think.
No.
It depends on if you're using 10-bit. Depends on if you're using 8-bit or not. I think you can still get away with using the slower cards. I think it's only on the higher codecs than 10-bit.
I still would like to see cameras with like some form of internal storage. Just a little bit, like 32 gigs of internal storage, just as like oh crap, I forgot my SD card or something, just to give you a quick capture or like an overspill in case if you accidentally are running out of room.
I agree.
That would be awesome to have.
The drones are so small. I don't know why they can't.
It just doesn't make sense. So you fly, right? You got a Mavic, right, Chris?
Yeah, I just upgraded to Mavic Air 2. Love that.
What do you think of that drone? What do you think of it?
Well, I had the Mavic Pro 1. Like when that first came out, I got that, and I've had it literally since it launched. So I just got the Mavic Air 2, and it's like flying a completely different drone. It's so smooth.
Amazing.
Oh, it's so smooth. The controller is so nice in your hands. It's quieter. I couldn't believe how much quieter it was compared to the other one.
It is a fair bit more quiet.
Yeah.
And the size, for me, like I like how portable it is. And the color's actually really pleasing. I use Decent quite a bit.
Yep.
And right out of the camera, I'm just like, this is really good. Just some minor adjustments here and there, and you can get a very, very pleasing image. Now, Beta FPV, did you ever get your unit from them?
Yes. You haven't watched my Instagram today, clearly.
I have not even been. It's been a shit show. Like when you start a project. So today I decided, we're going to clean the office. I got to get rid of this clutter. I got to declutter. I got to simplify life. So I started that process, and I was like, oh, it's only going to take me like 2 hours.
Whole day
trying to declutter. And I'm trying to get rid of things I don't need or don't use, or it's like, this has clearly been sitting for months. I'm not touching it. You got to get rid of it. Like, I feel like that's a problem with creators specifically. We hang on to gear just to say we have it, but we're not actually using it. It just makes no sense. I realized that today. Like, I keep hanging on to things for sentimental. Yeah, it was bad. So I finally cleaned this up, but they sent me that one too. Comes in this little thing. I gotta say, this thing is pretty damn fun. This Beta FPV. I don't know how much time you've got to fly it, but
I got through one battery so far, and I've never flown an FPV drone before.
How'd you do with it?
So I had one of those toy drones before DJI was like, they were big and you could get a GPS controlled drone, and I could hover it in the air, and it feels very similar to flying that. The hard thing I was having a hard time was trying to fly at line of sight versus trying to use a goggle.
Yeah, I can't do that. Can't do that.
See, I was finding it easier to fly line of sight, but I'm thinking, well, this is the whole point of having FPV. The goggles is to be FPV. And anytime I put the goggles on, it was just, I had no idea where it was. I could see it, and then all of a sudden, tree down.
Yeah.
So, but I was really moving it around, and so it's going to take a lot of practice, but I can already feel how much fun it is, which is dangerous because I know it's just it's another hobby of money. Here we go.
It is. But you know what, man, is like, once you start doing it, you just like the creative shots that you can get. And that's where it gets really scary. I was hooked like the first 2 times I did it. I was like, it became a challenge. And now like my walls are plastered with FPV drones. And I'm like, it's a lot of fun. But this is really good. I got to say, for this kit, the goggles are actually really not bad. For what they are, and the fact that they have DVR, I didn't realize that it has DVR. Like, you can actually put an SD card in there and record. I was like, I didn't know it did that for the price. I mean, it's pretty damn good. But yeah, I saw that with Potato Jet. It was funny when I saw your tweet. I was like, I know those people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, yeah, man. Because sometimes I feel like some of these companies, they sit on shipping things like for a while. Like, especially anything coming from China internationally, it's like it just gets lost.
Well, it didn't get lost, but their website says what 2 weeks to deliver, which is fine. So like when you expect 2 weeks, you're like, okay, well 3 weeks has passed, still nothing. And then I think it ended up being 6 weeks in the end. So it's like, if you'd have just told me 6 weeks from the get-go, I would have waited 6 weeks. Don't tell me 2 weeks and take 6. But
that's
especially when it's something you want. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't have a problem waiting for something. If it's something I want, I'll be patient. I'll wait for it. But misleading ship times, and that's sort of the thing too with the A7 III. I guess part of me is like, I'm excited to get that, but I don't need it. I don't really need it. Like, it's one of those things. It will greatly make life easier, but if I don't get it, I don't think it's not going to change what I do. You're still going to create the same content, and chances are half the people that watch our content won't know that we changed cameras ever. There's just not.
Nope.
And I think that became apparent. I was watching James Matthews, and he color graded everything out. And honestly, from his A7S II to the A7 III, I really couldn't tell much of a difference. You know, just once you grade it to what you are used to, you really can't tell. It's the workflow that changes, makes your life easier. So that's, I guess that's my thing with that.
It seems like the workflow is not going to be easier because the files are bigger. They're more taxing on your computer. So we'll see.
What's your editor of choice? Are you a Final Cut guy?
Final Cut last 18 months, previously Premiere Pro, but Premiere Pro, like I still dabble in Premiere Pro now and then for certain projects, but for the most part, Final Cut if I can. I want to learn Resolve, but
I want to learn it too, but I don't. That's just, you know, I saw, you know, when Gerald was on last week, I asked him that same question. I ask everybody the same thing. I say, you know, what's your editor of choice? And he said Resolve. And he said he basically had to put everything on pause for a week and just practice editing a video. And it's one of those things, but when you're doing this for a business, like you're doing this for a business, so when you put things on pause, it hits you financially. So to sit there and learn something that's going to take time away from your delivery to clients, that's crucial. Like, it's not like we're doing this for a hobby where we can just say, all right, let's learn Resolve. I don't know. I'm afraid there's going to be too many compromises, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think every editor has its compromises. Like Final Cut, there's still things where I'm like, well, I could do that in Premiere just by doing this. And like you go online, you find a tutorial how to do something. And like, it seems like the long way around of doing things, but everyone raves about Resolve. And I think maybe it's just the fact that it's free. I don't know.
It is free. I think free has a lot to it. If they were charging $300, you know, there was no free option, would we hear the same positivity surrounding that? That's my thing.
Good point.
Because Premiere, I don't think Premiere has any compromises in the actual what it offers. The biggest compromise to Premiere is the performance.
Crashing all the time.
Right. That's the biggest thing for Premiere.
Software.
Well, okay, so you pay monthly, but that aside, the biggest compromise to me is how many F-bombs I drop every time I lose a project, or you try to render something and it doesn't like a font, for instance. That's the latest thing that I'm seeing. It doesn't like certain fonts. Like if you load a font that it's not familiar with, it won't render out frames or sequences. And it's just like, what the hell?
My fingers would literally hover above Command and S. The entire, it would be like mouse in one hand, Command and S, Command and like every single.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And you shouldn't deal with that. Like,
no, you shouldn't.
I love it about that Final Cut. When I work, like today, I was working on an edit. And I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason, my laptop every once in a while just ejects my SSD in the middle of me editing. And then and when I try to plug it back in, it pretty much just crashes my whole computer. The fan goes off. And the lovely thing is I turned back on and everything was in Final Cut, just like I last had it.
That is a nicety that it does do that. But I wouldn't say Final Cuts with that. I used to edit with Final Cut Pro before finally making the switch to Premiere Pro. And there was days where I'm just like, I'm going nuts because I would lose a project with Final Cut Pro. And this is like 2 years ago. So maybe it's changed a bit now, but it wasn't always as smooth. The render and the scrolling is great. Like if I'm traveling, I'll edit with Final Cut Pro. Like if I have to get a quick video out, I'm going to edit with Final Cut Pro because I know that on the MacBook, it is definitely going to make my life easier. But I'm always going to be tied to Premiere's, or I should say, let me rephrase that. I'll always be tied to Adobe's services because Audition, like I see Chris is using the NTG. So for me, like certain mics, like the NTG, that's the 5, right, Chris?
I
noticed.
That's the new one. The
NTG video.
That's NTG video. So I had the NTG 5, the XLR version, and I noticed with that one, like my voice, it would be heavier on the highs. Maybe that's just the NTG mics in general. So I would always have to post process to try to raise the mids of the voice, try to give it a little more warmth to it. And, you know, there's nothing in, you know, Final Cut really that you can do that seamlessly.
There's
Like,
no
not that I
audio
found.
tool. No,
Nothing
it's very
linear.
basic.
I guess you could use like Reaper or something like that, but again, that's a whole nother thing to learn. I used to use Audacity, and Audacity's project's been basically terminated. It doesn't even work on, I think, newer versions of Catalina or anything newer than that. Actually, it just crashes now. It's sort of unfortunate because that was a good free utility. What do you think of that mic, though?
The NTG video?
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it. I was using like a Blue Yeti before. Like, I really know next to nothing about audio. It's definitely one of my big weaknesses.
But it's the simplicity of it all, though.
It is.
You're using like a $28 microphone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The I still have that. The Takstar SGC 598.
I had that mic.
Yeah,
I had that
good.
mic. I got that. I watched a Max Yuri video, and I was just like, I'm sold. $27, and it was an amazing mic.
I think first 18 months I used just that mic, and honestly, when I go back on my old videos, I listen to them. I'm like, you can't even tell that it's a $28 mic. It's completely fine.
But that's one thing I think a viewer will tell the difference on is when your audio is completely trashed.
Yep.
You know, and it's just not good. They're going to notice. But I think what a lot of people think, they have to buy these expensive mics. But the best thing about a mic is if you just get it close to your mouth, you're going to make even a cheap mic sound amazing. Like that mic is perfectly positioned, and it's like about a foot from your mouth.
Yep.
That's the perfect spot to have one of these. And I think that's something like a lot of these like channels just invest in lighting and a mic. I say lighting because Tommy is all about lighting, man. He is all about lighting, dude.
I've been messaging Tommy on Twitter like tonight before we started the chat, and he's been picking his brain on a few things.
He's all about the lighting, but you know, when I look for things like that, you want simplicity. Like that's why I watch your videos, Chris, because I think, you know, from a simplistic standpoint, it sort of grounds people. So like, all right, I'm overcomplicating this. There's an easier way to do it, and that definitely is, you know, overall, I think your style. I think is awesome, dude.
Ask a question just because somebody in the stream was asking if I had met you at Camera Camp, Chris. And it's a joke because it always seems to come up, but I said no. But were you ever invited to Camera Camp? Because I feel like, you know, you were one of the, you know.
I've never been invited to any form of Sony event or.
I'm gonna say that is absolute bullshit that they haven't do.
I agree. The funny thing is, I'm on their list of whenever the press releases get sent out, like I get sent all the intel and like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, never sent any models to test out, no loaners, never been invited to anything. I think it's because I trash the cameras sometimes. Like, I'm honest, if I hate the screen on the A7 III, I hate it with a passion.
Everybody
I think maybe a bit too honest. So
terrible.
But that's what makes it, you know, that's what's fair. Like, and that's why I think like companies like Sony specifically, they miss out on, you know, technically I would say we're sort of micro influencers, right? We're not like at 50,000, but we're, you know, above a certain threshold. So that's a micro influencer. And sometimes, you know, when you're talking to an audience, if they feel like you believe in a product enough, they're more apt to purchase something than watching, let's say, an unbox therapy. But with that said, you know, they're playing on the fact of sheer numbers that the volume will win, but sometimes it's not always the case, because sometimes with those smaller influencers, you're building a fan base around the product that they believe in, and it's a win. So I think, you know, from Sony's standpoint, they need to reevaluate that. That's sort of sad that they haven't had you at an event.
I think they were for a while, like they were going after people around like our size, but now those people have grown much higher, and they're still going after those same people. Like they haven't readjusted their mindset. I guess.
There's a certain click I feel like Sony follows with, and you're either in that click for that time, or you're not. And eventually, what's going to happen is it's going to cycle through. I feel like every genre of YouTube sort of has those clicks that brands are going to gravitate towards. I see that with drones. I see that with, you know, phone tech. You know, you always have those certain creators that people are going to gravitate to. I look at it this way: whether you get a product today or I get a product 2 months from now, it's all about how different you present that to your audience. That's going to make somebody watch, right?
That's it. That's
I don't think it's got to be. I don't think it's got to be a first thing. I think it's just you got to do it better or different. Most of the time, it's just do something different.
That's the big thing I'm trying to think right now with this new A7S III that's coming. It's like everybody is going to have it. Everyone is posting the same content. It's like, what can we do that is different?
But so my thing is the honesty factor, factor, because you just don't know. And you know, with you doing weddings and you doing real estate stuff, I want to see, like, from a real world perspective, is it exactly what they say? Because in certain elements, or like me, like I'm in Florida, like I saw Dan Watson using it, but is this thing going to overheat on me? Because I need it to at least last at least 30 minutes. 30 minutes without overheating would be ideal. Now, for you filming a wedding, no overheating is obviously what you're aiming for.
Yep. And I've never had an issue with something like the A7 III. Like, and it gets, don't be fooled, it gets hot here in Canada.
Oh, it gets hot,
especially in the summer. Yeah. So like, I don't see it having any overheating issues, to be honest with you.
That'd be good. That'd be good if if it didn't. So, Chris, man, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man, and chatting with us. Like I said,
thank you for
big fan. Guys, Chris's channel is down in the description if you want to check out Mr. Brockhurst content. Like I said, if you're looking for somebody who puts things in a simple mannerism, this is your go-to guy. Super easy, and obviously a scholar and a gentleman. Chris, thank you so much for coming on tonight, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take it easy, brother.
Cheers.
All right. That was good, man. I think I like, I like Chris's content, man. I just sort of like how he's very casual when he presents things, which is
straight to the point.
Right. It just no bullshit. Let's get right to the point.
Did you see the A7C video where he took all that time to set up his background and then at the end said, "No, don't buy it." And then just ended the video.
But it's sort of true though, because like you're gonna find somebody that's gonna spend the money on the A7C when they can probably save a bit and buy the A7 III and fuck it, whatever. All right, so tonight's topic is American drones on the rise. So I decided tonight for the creator that I'm gonna bring in to talk about drones. I mean, it would only be fitting that we bring in the most un-American person that I know to talk drones with me, a man that needs absolutely no introduction. I mean, have you ever heard this guy talk, Paul?
I have not, no.
He could sell ice to an Eskimo. His voice is so ravishing, sexy. He's got the sexiest voice in drones. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean from Geeksvana. And I'm glad he put his name in here because I have not known how to spell it yet. You just never know.
Oh, man. Hi, how are you, sir? Thank you very much for that introduction.
No problem, man. You just, right now, I just feel like having you on the stream, you've already enhanced the value. Right now, the stream value has gone up 10% just by you saying hello, man.
Well, yeah, I have to say one of the things that has helped me, it seems anyway, in the American audience is the accent. It's certainly been an asset.
Very
so
polite.
Far. One that I wasn't expecting, actually. So yeah.
Well, you know what though? I always say there's two types of British accents. There's that sort of polite, wonderfully charming accent, and then there's Ash. Oh. I love it. I'm just joking. I love Ash. I got to give him a hard time now and again. So I love Ash. He's a good guy, but I wanted you to come on tonight because I know from watching your content, one of the things that you do pretty damn well is you do an immense amount of research. When you put out a video, there's a good amount of pre-planning that happens.
Yes.
And I think that's important. Metro drones, thank you very much. Let me switch over. Can I play it, Paul? I'm going to play it. I love the slot machine. It's just so Vegas.
Very cool.
So, like I said, one of the things is I know you do a lot of planning, and recently there's been a shift. There's been a shift, a dynamic in the market when it comes to drones, especially here in the U.S.
Yes.
So we look at DJI. We haven't seen a Mavic 3. We probably won't for a while, right? I think it's pretty clear.
If we see one. If we see one.
We see one. We know that remote ID is lingering and they're waiting to steal Christmas yet again, and they're gonna shit all over our wonderful parade on Christmas morning. Little kids are gonna be open. Johnny just got a brand new Mavic Air, and then the next day the FAA is gonna come in and smack Johnny down, just smack him down.
That
could happen. We know it's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly. So, but the fear around DJI is real. Would you say?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to break it down. In my opinion, there's about 10 different facets that the whole DJI and Chinese drone things really has to be broken down into. And from one end of the scale, there is just the pure politic of it, that it sounds, it's obviously a nice soundbite to say, we want American-made products, not Chinese-made products. But actually, at the other end of the scale, China, there are indeed there are some very worrying side of things. I mean, for instance, there are 2 pieces of legislation in place in China, one in 2017, one in 2019. One says that every company has to open their books and be completely cooperative with the Secret Service, and the one in 2019 made it illegal for any Chinese individual citizen to refuse to spy on behalf of the Chinese Secret Service. So when you have those kind of laws in the background, you can also understand why, especially for commercial drones and anything that's going to be near anything sensitive, why the American government would be, and the federal government would be moving towards wanting US built stock, basically.
I agree with that.
And somewhere in the middle there, you've got, obviously it's great because it's going to bring other innovations into it. You look at the Skydio X2 is just incredible
piece of hardware.
Oh, just amazing. And that feels like the drone they were destined to make as well. I mean, I know they're only 10% into their story, but that feels like the drone that's really going to show what they can do. And that's a good thing. You've obviously got Parrot, the French company, who are building their drone in the USA.
But even Parrot is sort of, I guess they're an outlier, because we have Teal. Teal's sort of a company that was building, actually got their start. I covered this 2 years ago. They had the Teal FPV drone for a little bit, and that was their I don't know, whatever, their introductory drone. And then now we're seeing they're putting out the Golden Eagle, which I think is a shitty name.
Yeah.
Like super shitty name.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. My only criticism of Teal, and Parrot have done it as well, is they seem to concentrate a lot on the fear side of things. I watched an interview one of the guys from Teal gave, and it was very fear generated, that you can't have these Chinese drones, China. And the Parrot and FE USA launch talked a lot about how DJI were caught out with their coding and that type of thing. But then you look at someone like Skydio, and they don't really talk about the rest. They just say, we've built a really great drone. And that's what I like as well, because to me, there's something, as a Brit, there's something un-American about just saying buy ours because it isn't DJI, if that makes sense.
That makes
the Golden
sense.
Eagle is a great drone, but let's concentrate on why you should buy the drone and not worry why you've got there, if that makes sense.
I do feel like but in the same sense, when you look at other brands beyond drones, that's a very American thing to do, is to say it's made here, buy it. You look at all the automotive manufacturers.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. But to say buy it because DJI are evil or because Chinese drones are evil,
that's not a good reason.
No, I mean,
you shouldn't play your competitors that way.
3.5 minutes of Parrot's Anafi USA launch was on the whole sort of detective job that they did on DJI, and I cut that out of my release video on that, because I just felt like it was, I'm afraid to say, nonsense. And I did tell Parrot that myself. And it's a shame, but because if you have to go into sort of bashing the competition and bashing the reason that you got in the door, to me, as a former salesperson, I would never do that. I would be there and say, right, this is why I'm here. This is what I can do for you. And that, I feel like, models like the Skydio are correct.
They missed the market in boat, I think, when it came to the Parrot launch. And it's a good product. Like, it's a great product for what they are trying to do, Parrot.
It's a very specific product as well, which is what people have to remember, because on a lot of the comments on my launch videos were, actually, it hasn't got this, it hasn't got that, it's got the same control, the same controller, etc. But actually, they built that specifically for the military contract that they designed it for, and the military are very happy with what they're getting, and and what they sell commercially outside of that is butter for them, is gravy, as it were, for them. But then you go across the borders to something like the X2 or even the Golden Eagle, which has a much wider application base, and you've got the potential for those drones to really take off.
Yeah, the X2 is particularly interesting, and I like, from what I see, even though the Golden Eagle has a really terrible name, the hardware that they've put in there is interesting, and the fact that they are appealing to such a commercial fleet, whether it be military or as it's also what we want for 3D map. And I think Skydio right now is sort of leaps and bounds ahead of almost any other manufacturer here in the States. I would say, I think they are sort of leading the pack. And you're right, when you talk about Skydio's marketing, they can take subtle digs at companies. Like, they took a subtle dig when they announced the Skydio S2. They said drones are dumb, and it was a picture of a Phantom, or a video of a Phantom hidden a street sign. In less words or no words, they were able to take a silent dig at DJI and then showcase, obviously, what we all know now is that first trailer video that really set that drone into a super hype.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm also enjoying the Skydio DJI Twitter banter that's going on.
It's more of a
whoever's running the Skydio Twitter.
I know who's running the Skydio Twitter. So I know he's probably gonna see this video. I know it's you. I won't say his name because I know it. I don't want to drop him out like that, but he is hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. It's fun to watch, certainly.
It's fun to watch him go at Brendan Schulman.
Takes a little bit of the gas out of the whole subject matter as well, and things like that. So,
because it's not all that serious. I mean, at the end of the day, these are flying machines. I mean, unfortunately, there's going to be a time where, I hate to say it, but there's gonna, all good things come to an end, unfortunately, right? We'd be naive to think otherwise, because if we look at everything that's happening in the world, and the way technology and things are progressing, eventually, and maybe not in our lifetime, but travel by air for consumers, like I would say our consumer, non-commercially, like if we want to drive somewhere, you may do it by air. That may happen. That's not far-fetched to believe that. Not anytime soon. Like I said, I hope not in my lifetime, because I want to fly the shit out of everything I have on my wall, but still,
I think there's still going to be space for us for a while, because the one thing that people are forgetting is that remote ID is only one step. After remote ID, they have to get a unified traffic management system in place, which is going to bring all of these other things together. And then they've got to get past the Tesla barrier. With all these automated drones, Tesla were flying along. We look like we're going to have full automation on our freeways and motorways over here in the UK. And then, of course, they've had accidents and tragedies with the Tesla AI, which has set them back many years. And I think we're going to get that point with drones as well. We're going to have a delivery drone drop out the sky and come very close to a school bus or something. Something's going to happen.
Sure.
It's going to smash someone's Ford Mondeo on their drive or something, and then that will set it back by a few years. So I don't think it's as close as some people might think it is. And I think it's going to be for the next, I would say, at least 15 to 20 years, quite localized in cities and that type of thing, and very specific.
I see it more rural, suburban areas that it makes more sense, where it's like sort of sparsely populated. I wouldn't say sparsely populated, because you want it to be effective
to deliver. Yeah,
you want it to be effective, but you have to have a warehouse. Like, to put Amazon flying drones in something like New York City would be an absolute shit show with that airspace. To have drones flying almost in any city would be a disaster, because there's too many things that can go wrong. But if you put it out in an open space, suburbs,
no, indeed.
that would work.
Well, in actual fact, the UK had the first Amazon Prime Air test site, which was very much in the rural southwest of England.
Okay.
And that worked very well. You actually put a landing pad in your garden with a QR code that the drone recognized, and it lands on the QR code, drops the box. There's so many safety issues, so many things that pops into your mind.
But how much time does that save, though? Like let's also think of it like this, as we're talking about Amazon delivery, because the drone has a certain weight capacity, right? Yes. We all know like what the heavy lifts can do. So we have this drone that's going to be able to carry a box, and we'll give it a weight capacity of, let's say, 10 pounds, right? That's fair, 10 pounds.
Yes.
How many? So you're going to take a 10-pound box and fly it to somebody, and then fly right back to the hub? That almost seems asinine in a sense. What
we're forgetting here, and what a lot of people forget when they look at drone delivery, is they look at what the pictures we get now of the Amazon releases and the Wing releases and that type of thing. Those are not the drones which are going to be delivering to us. I did a couple of interviews recently with Dr. Pascal Lee, who's the director of the NASA Horton Mars project, who's in charge of actually taking drones in a manned mission to Mars. And they're testing drones at the moment, and in fact, they use the DJI Spark to help them work out what their controllers, their spacesuit glove controllers, etc., can do, because they're not trying to have cutting edge drones, because in 10, 15, 20 years time, drones are going to be completely different. And that's the same for delivery drones, that by the time delivery drones are rolled out on any kind of mass scale, they are going to be completely different. Battery technology will have taken a few leaps by then, and design, etc. So we're going to see either much smaller ones, which will go out with very small packages, or the capacity to have much more on there.
I'm smiling because I don't know. I maybe it's the autonomy. They heard you, Sean. Their Skydio's in the stream.
Ah, hi, Skydio.
You can't say any.
I'm so glad I was saying nice things about Skydio.
See, all good things, all good things. Right now, I think I hear my Skydio activated, and it's like, it never knows. Like all of a sudden, it perks up and it may attack me.
Yeah,
they are everywhere. They are everywhere. It's scary.
The whole social media coverage is very impressive.
Can you believe it's just one robot that does the whole thing? One robot. It's got one wheel.
One very clever robot.
It's going to be scary times though when they do finally get this done. But I agree. I think from like all hype aside, we are far away from that. I think anybody, not even just Amazon, Walmart, UPS, I think we're far away.
There's another factor as well that people need to bear in mind with the future of drones, and that's the pie. In the next 15, 20 years, the pie that makes up drones, the hobby is going to be a very, very small slither of that. So we're going to see potentially less and less development of consumer grade drones going outwards up into enterprise, and much more of the commercial and enterprise drones that are going to trickle down, a bit like the S-Class Mercedes of this year will have the Ford Mondeo spec in 18 months time will trickle down to that Ford. I think we're going to go in that direction because companies are going to be putting a lot of money into the commercial sector because there's just so much money in the future. There's so much money, far more than the consumer market. But I think it will benefit us in the end because that technology will trickle down into our consumer and prosumer drones.
So as we're talking about American drones, one of the companies that was approved or on the approved list, I don't know if it should come as a shock, but Autel made that list. But with the caveat, strong caveat, with the fact that they are assembling and manufacturing the duals, the Evo 2 duals here in the States. And that just came up this year. How do you feel about that? Because you got companies like, obviously DJI has the infrastructure that they could easily put together a manufacturing plant and say, all right, everything happens here. Or do you think it's because the way the transmission of data is sent back and forth between DJI drones that is fearful to most organizations?
I think one of the issues that DJI have now is that their hand was caught in the cookie jar a couple of times. And I'm not saying they were trying to do anything, but the code could have been used in a negative way a couple of times. I didn't think of that. There. So they've already perhaps lost that trust aspect there. And I know that with the French maker Parrot, with their USA drone, they're actually having an American company. I can't remember the name of them now, but they are an trusted aerospace company who have many other federal and military contracts, make the drone. So they actually they transferred over all of their IP to them.
Okay.
And they essentially make the drone for Parrot. So Parrot don't actually make that drone. They designed it. They've it's their drone, but it's essentially being made by someone else for them. So therefore, it gets that trust seal, which I think is obviously what Autel are doing from the point of view that they've done enough to reach that seal.
Right, and that's sort of what they've pulled back.
Yes.
They're sort of breaking
and
out
also with
companies.
Autel USA, you do have Autel USA, and then the home country behind it. Whereas obviously with DJI, it is a Chinese company with outlets in the USA rather than being there being a DJI USA. Look at TikTok. There is now going to be a TikTok.
Hey
USA.
Matt, I'm sorry, Matt's saying their Autel's not on the list. Actually, they are. When you are a dealer, like an Autel dealer, like we are at DroneWorks, we get the press notifications first, and they've got the approval to do so because we got the green light and just unloaded 15 units to local departments here because they got the green light to utilize Autel's, only their duals. They can only use the duals, and they can only use the ones that were produced here, which isn't many, but we got 15 of them sold this week. So they got the green light to do so.
Also, Julio, thank you.
What's up? Oh, Julio, yes, thank you, J-Mo. So yeah,
there was Autel made the announcement on the 3rd of September, wasn't it?
Correct.
The Evo 2 Dual is essentially their version of like the Anafi USA. It's their Evo 2 USA. They haven't branded it that way, but
because our departments here in Florida, as far as like local sheriff and what the hell is it, FWC, they were not allowed. They turned over. We bought back quite a few M210s. We bought back a lot of the enterprise models. Like we bought them because we're going to repurpose them to somebody else, so it's not a big deal for us.
Awesome.
But they wanted to be outfitted with something else. So when Autel announced that, we had call after call, and we were like, shit. It was like real quick on the sales side. And apparently they got the green light. So whoever is approving this for the state said, hey, that's okay. We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
there is a lot of hunger out there, isn't there? There's a lot of government and federal agencies that really need drones right now.
Knowing the CEO of Autel, he wouldn't get that green light. He wouldn't make this investment if they're not going to be able to be they're not going to be on the approved list. They'll be on the approved list.
Well, it'll be the reason why the dual is being.
It'll be the reason why, but it's only going to be the dual. It's only going to be the dual that's on that list. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yes,
it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when the X2 actually comes out, because I think when people actually start playing with that thing, it's going to be a bit scary for the competition. I think when you think of these people that get the Matrice out of the truck, and then some guy pulls up in his pickup with the X2 and just click and up in the air, and the guy's still putting his props on the Matrice.
Yeah, but it's funny, like when I go to a lot of these commercial shows and I'm walking around and they're like, oh yeah, we've got this amazing drone, and it's all American made, all American sourced, and the deal breaker with why they can't be used for a I say state level, but even like DoD, is the fact that the software is still DJI. It's an American-made drone, but the software, the heart of it, it's not using Pix4D or anything like that. It's using DJI software, and in some instances, like the controller, I mean, it's very much DJI. So it's like sort of like, why go through all that hassle of building this if you're still going to use the software that's going to not enable you to be able to be used by certain state departments?
No, indeed. I mean, it's
crazy.
It's as I say, there's like a range of the pendulum which swings and somewhere in the middle is probably the correct place to be.
Sure.
That actually having American-made drones is obviously a very good thing. It's going to if you can't get innovation through the marketplace and you have one or two dominant manufacturers, then actually, if government legislation does create innovation, then great, because it is going to benefit the market as a whole.
It'll benefit the American market,
yeah.
If we can get our shit together. My problem with the American market is the fact that we're a day late and $1 short. We saw the writing on the wall. We knew this was going to come at some point, right? What manufacturer did we have that really stepped up to the table early enough, right? Okay, so Teal put out basically a toy drone initially, right? That was their entry into the market. It was a toy drone. You had very few like sort of like here and there, industrial applications that were very, very expensive and didn't make sense for state and local departments, right? Even on a national level, the units that they were producing weren't intuitive enough nor reliable enough for some of these other companies that they were putting out products. So you let DJI run rampant for years and years and years, right?
Yes.
I'd say 4 or 5 years, they were pretty damn dominant.
Who were then caught asleep at the wheel, essentially.
Right.
By not
right, essentially. And now you're playing catch up, and you've already been lapped by your competition. So now you're having to catch up to them.
I think it will be different I completely agree with you, but I think it will be different in the sense that what's now being developed and what's coming out, of course, to meet the criteria are enterprise level drones.
Yeah.
So it's not someone trying to come out with a Mavic Air 2 competitor or something.
Correct.
So I think that could help, because you look at the fantastic investment that Skydio have recently got and other companies that are getting to get into that commercial market. Then actually the consumer market below that is going to benefit from that. So I could see this being a path that leads to better and more availability of different brands.
Something in the chat here, so they're talking about DJI geofencing. So to that effect, yeah, DJI drones, when you're dealing with the state level or even law enforcement, you get to unlock, like you get like a sort of Pandora's key, the God mode, we'll call it, to unlock those. And when we sell these drones to like agencies, because some of them do buy, some of them still use DJI products, you buy that and we register the serial numbers with DJI and we let them know like, hey, this is for this state department. This is for this law enforcement agency. And they basically have their entire fleet. So anywhere where they authorize, they're automatically unlocked. Like it basically allows them to get up in the air immediately. They don't need any sort of authorization. They're not nagged with any of that bullshit. They are basically free and clear. All they need to do is make sure that they are connected via internet, and it'll download that unlock, and it's permanent, which is pretty damn cool for them to do that. It is a pain in the ass, obviously, when you're dealing as a consumer, that you got to deal with geofencing. You got to deal with geofencing.
It is, yeah.
But why do we deal with geofencing? Because you got some assholes that land on a freaking baseball field. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, and it's always the reason why a lot of professional drone users will have a non-DJI product in the back of the car as well, so that they can throw that up should they just not be able to get the shot with the drone of their choice. So it's the geofencing thing is always an issue, and I can understand it, especially for the prosumer level, for the Part 107 or PFCO as they call it here.
If you're somebody that needs it, you need it. But I mean, like, if you really dig down, I know I bitch about their geofencing a lot, but the reality is, if I don't get a drone shot, if I'm out by the water or the beach or something, okay, maybe that matters. Maybe that matters to get that aerial shot. But for real estate, it's not really essential. I always compare the drone shots that I get with this to like sort of the cream, the cherry on top. Like that's the icing on the cake. That sort of makes everything okay. But, something that I've really tried this past couple of weeks to use my Evo as much as I can.
Nice.
And I fucking have just absolutely have lost my mind with that. I hate it. I fucking hate it. I'll say it right here, and you guys can say, you goddamn hypocrite, whatever you want. Fuck that drone. The color science on that thing is a complete abomination. I want to punch the developer in the face. I want to punch him in the face because it's the worst. It makes my workflow so much harder, so much harder. They have this great drone. The other thing too, now I'm starting to get, is oscillations in the drone. And you know, like, you don't really know this, like unless if you fly FPV, you can feel oscillations when you bend it prop or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked over my props and I'm like, all right, I don't have any bent props, but I feel these vibrations in the quad. Like, you can feel it and you can see it. Like, something's not quite right.
Something's not quite there. So do you wish you bounced that one off your driveway rather than
I wish it was the Evo. Sadly,
the
you know,
Pro.
if I could tell you I could tell you 110% if I bounced the Evo off the driveway like I did the Mavic 2. Granted, the Mavic 2 Pro was still broken. I broke the Mavic 2 Pro, but the Evo would have cracked. The chassis would have cracked.
Yeah.
So
and by the way, we did get a message from Boozy Bob to say he was having flashbacks when he saw the damage.
It's probably his freaking fault. It's probably his freaking fault. So I ended up getting a new Mavic 2 Pro today. So I go to the shop, awesome. I pick up the Mavic 2 Pro, I get it out of the box. We go to fly it, and we're getting RF signal issues with the drone. So first time in forever, I'm flying a property today. I'm not even, I wouldn't say I'm very far out, right? I wouldn't say I'm very far out. Okay. I'm maybe less than 1,200 feet, we'll say.
Okay.
And I'm at about an altitude of 300 feet. The drone disconnects from the smart controller.
Ouch.
And what happens is it disconnects, and I'm like, really? What? It says image signal lost. And I'm like, 1,200 feet? What? I've never had this happen before. Even before that, like, I was getting a lot of lag in the smart controller. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's definitely got to be the smart controller, because the smart controller's new too, because I broke both of them yesterday.
Okay.
So
because I was going to ask actually whether you had that RF issue after the recent smart controller update, but if it's a new smart controller,
I did update it. So in my due diligence, I said to myself, all right, I got 2 shoots today. I did the first one. We battled constant disconnects and really laggy signal. So we were on a farm filming, and he had a satellite there. Like, it was not a satellite, but it was a large antenna for his what the hell was it? It was for his TV, and he's pushing 2,000 watts, he said, to this. And I'm like, I said to Zach, I said, 2,000 watts? I said, what the freak is he down? What the? I said, that's got to be the issue. That's got to be the issue. I was convinced that's the issue. I go to my next shoot, more of a residential area, somewhere where I've had no issues, and I'm literally 60 feet out in front of me, and it's just breaking up and disconnecting. Ouch. And I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. So I get home, and I said to myself, all right, well, let's troubleshoot this. I grab the smart controller, and I get my normal controller. I bind to the standard controller, and I said, all right, let's do a flight. I'm just going to take it off. I go out again, 1,000 feet. At about 200 feet, disconnect. I'm like, good. So it's got to be something with that unit that's off.
Yeah,
that's a definite concern.
You would hope so. You would hope it would be the unit, because you don't.
I just can't believe it's. I can't believe it's a smart controller, because I bind it back. That's the other thing. You got to rebind now because I bound it to the smart controller. I now have to rebind the Mavic Air 2 to the smart controller. DJI needs to fix that shit show. That's a disaster.
Yes.
As soon as you bind another drone to the smart controller, you now have to rebind the Mavic Air 2.
You should be able to have a bunch of them bound to it.
Well, you should. And when you have a Mavic Air 2, like, I can swap between my my Zoom to the Pro to the Enterprise. That works fine. But the Air 2, nope. You got to rebind it. And it doesn't take a long time, but it's just inconvenient.
Right. Do you think we might see a smart controller 2 quite soon?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. You would think so.
I thought we might see one, and they would wait for the Air 2 to be on the new one to get everyone to upgrade.
I'll go out on a limb here.
When this update came out, I was like, oh, okay, maybe no 2 then.
Yeah, I don't know if they would or wouldn't, but I'll say this. I'll be ballsy enough to say this. I think the smart controller for as limited as it was with just being really built for the Mavic series, is one of DJI's best products. Like, it's a must buy. And a lot of people were like, oh, I can just buy a tablet. Fuck you. Let me try to get in the air as fast as I can with the smart controller, boot the smart controller up, take off, go, and be able to see.
Yes.
You're not going to beat me into the air. You're going to be fumbling around with your tablet and cables.
It's just a hassle to have to worry about, oh, is my phone or tablet charged? Oh, is my controller also charged?
Then you got the glare, and then you got to have this big thing. I whip out the smart controller quicker than shit. Like, boom, out. It's like, boom, powered on. I'm powering it on like slow motion. I'm pressing the button. I can hear the beeps. It's powering on, booting up. I'm powering on the drone. I'm doing all this in my mind, slow motion, and I'm flying. I'm already down the road, out the door, unless if something's broken.
Yeah, it is definitely a pro piece of kit, and everybody I know that uses it says the same thing. That it's,
I don't take advantage of half. I don't take advantage of half the features that you can get out of a smart controller. Like, I don't. I just use it for what it is, but it's damn good. It's damn good. Like, I have had no issues.
It was a good update. You have to say that DJI are doing pretty well with their updates at the moment, with the Air 2 getting the zoom
for sure,
and then now sorting out that compatibility. The 32,
I agree.
64-bit
they've done a good job with that.
Yeah, it's pretty.
They've done a good job with the Fly app. I mean, like I said, I really don't have too many problems. My biggest gripe with the smart controller is when I try to do unlocks, like try to get an unlock. Sometimes I can't get unlock codes just because it's awkward. Like, I want to turn the screen in portrait, right? Because that's easier to read all the prompts.
Yes. Yeah.
And because there isn't a gyro, the screen isn't going to auto rotate like it would on a phone. I think there needs to be an icon that says rotate so you can see more of that. So if you're going to go through an unlock sequence where there's a lot of check marks, a lot of tick marks, you can have all that on one screen and then you're good to go. People always say to me, well, should I connect my smart controller to the internet when I'm flying? I used to say no, but now I've learned that if I'm going to fly, especially in an area where I may need an unlock, it's best to be connected, because if you try to unlock without being connected to the internet, sometimes when you try to unlock, it will fail. And then you're really screwed. So that's sort of a sucky thing.
And the whole flying whilst online thing, it is becoming more of a norm, really, isn't it? I know some people fear that with remote ID around the corner and that type of thing, but it does tend to be a better thing. It used to be flying in aircraft mode on your phone or tablet.
Yeah.
But these days, there are benefits to it. Obviously, especially with
I do it all the time.
Yeah, it's becoming the right way to fly.
Well, plus too, if you think about it, somebody calls you or whatever, and now all of a sudden, I try to fly. If I'm not in airplane mode, I'm definitely on do not disturb.
Oh, definitely on do not disturb. 100%. Yes,
but just having somebody call is not typically good.
No, indeed, exactly. And as a hobbyist flyer, I don't fly commercially yet. So yeah, I literally just it's my Chinese spy phone that I just throw into my Chinese spy DJI.
What spy phone is that?
It's the Huawei P20.
Okay.
Which
you can get those over here. We don't get that here.
Oh, okay. And the only reason I like this is because it has I think it's 34% higher nits than the Samsungs. So this actually has a really, really bright screen when it's sat on the controller, and it's one of the approved devices as well. I'm
going to have to really go through. Hopefully tomorrow the new unit comes in, the new Mavic 2 Pro comes in, and then the first thing I'm going to do is obviously rebind and then retest. I just couldn't believe that the smart controller would have been the issue, because I've never had that problem before. No. And then since it's happening on the standard controller, I'm just automatically assuming that whatever problem I was experiencing was coming from that Mavic 2 Pro.
Because the drone itself, it makes sense.
I've flown this thing further than I would ever care to admit online. And that's the thing, when people say, well, the smart controller has less range. I've been able to push it out almost 5.5 miles. What do you need? What do you need out of a drone? Like, I swear to you, people want to try to fly far because it's like a whose dick is bigger contest. Listen, at the end of the day, everybody's dick is small. You don't need that much. You don't need that much distance. Okay,
Fixed?
you just fly. Keep it in your pants. You don't need that much distance.
Yeah, but I suppose obviously the argument always is the more distance, then the better it is close up when it goes behind a building or trees and that. Which I can see that, but no, you don't need to go 5 miles.
The range tests always kill me. They always kill me. I mean, I'm guilty of doing them, but I've never been like, I got to do it. I want to see how far it's because my best work happens up close. Like when I can see something and I can still sort of see line of sight of the drone. And I guess now sort of my flights are changing because I'm learning to trust what I see on the screen more, if that makes sense. I think after flying
probably
FPV,
the FPV, yeah, that'd be the
yes.
FPV coming out,
Yes.
wouldn't it? Yeah, you have to trust it, obviously.
Right. You got to trust what you see on the screen. And my biggest thing that I would have a hard time trusting is the field of view with these camera drones.
Totally.
Because what you see isn't what you actually get. Like that's not where your drone's necessarily positioned. And that I think was the scariest thing for me.
No, indeed, I completely agree with that. Eddie Nunez asked a while ago what I'm drinking, and I would just like to
what are you drinking?
Go through customs properly and disclose that I am actually teetotal, so I'm drinking 7-Up sugar free this evening.
Okay.
So yeah,
what time is it there?
What time is it here? It is 3:15 in the morning.
How are you doing this, Sean? Wow. You know what's crazy is I see
this is actually an AI bot that I've
Oh, is that
programmed.
What that is?
There's certain questions. If you ask certain questions, I won't be able to answer.
Oh, you're gonna hit a brick wall.
That's where
it's doing pretty good.
That's where I might start to stutter, like I just did there. You see,
but I see you like tomorrow night, Ken Heron stream.
Yes,
Thursday Night Live. I see you in there.
Yeah,
I see you everywhere. Have you come to the conclusion that you're adjusting your hours to American time? Is that what you've done?
I work for an American company.
Okay,
so I have to have meetings in the middle of the night sometimes anyway. But I was a drone fan before I was a drone YouTube creator. So I was already on all of these streams and I was already following everybody, etc. It's just a little bit more noticeable when you also create videos and people are like, what time is it where Geeks Farner is? Why is he on a stream right now? So, but I've often got the streams on in the background when I'm sat tapping away working and that type of thing.
I do the same thing. I don't get a chance to always interact with everybody, but I'll throw a stream on. I try to, make my way around. I sort of lurk. I'm a lurker. If somebody was to just type my name in a chat, they may see that I'm sitting there. But I like to lurk and just sort of observe.
Into someone else just to avoid
right.
that.
I mean, I do that.
I do that sometimes.
Just because
if I can't chat
fun.
at all, if I'm into something and I have to concentrate, rather than be rude, because actually sometimes the host will go, "Oh, is Geeks Farner here?" And then I'm like, "Okay," and I'll go over. And of course, you want to answer them and chat. But yeah, it's difficult, especially when you watch as many live streams as I do. It's difficult to chat in all of them.
It definitely does. So I gotta say, your pregame of Spin Up was epic.
Thank you, sir.
Because it's like, how do you hype yourself up for a stream that's virtual, right? Before, when you would go and do Spin Up, it was all right. You're gonna go. There's gonna be people there. You're walking in. My case, I was walking in hungover, and people are like, ah, and I'm like, shh. Coffee. And then I'm trying to track down that one person who's got, Advil. Please, whoever.
Yes.
If you have Advil, you're my best friend for the day. I'll buy you dinner. And but this year was different. I wasn't hungover. I went to bed on time, and we walk in there and they have your stream going on the 85-inch TV. Kelly wanted everybody there. He was pretty prompt about everybody there at 8 a.m., 8:15, we're going to have breakfast, right?
Nice.
And I said, all right, what's going on? We're sitting down, eating my breakfast burrito, and we're watching your stream. And I said, this is probably the most well-produced hype stream that I've ever seen. It was so damn good. And it was a good way to sort of get your mindset into, all right, we're going to go online and film. And I felt like it sort of got people ready to go for the show.
Yeah.
Because it was hard.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to expect.
it was a great opportunity, obviously, for a smaller channel like mine as well. So I tried to take it seriously, but it kind of came easy because, again, I am a fan of all of the creators featured. I am a fan of drones. I love watching drone content. So for me, it was just bringing together all of my, I love this video this guy did, I love that video that this guy did, and just bringing it all together.
Right, a little bit montage.
And we tried not to scream too much about Geeksvana or anything. We tried to make it spin up focused.
But I think that was the awesome part, because I was telling Kelly this year that I was like, you know what, man, I said, out of all the spin ups, I know it's cool to have people like, you know, present live, but I felt like we were able to add more value to the event by doing it digitally, because you have creators that would in no way probably be able to physically make it to you. And we were able to bring much more diversity to this year's spin up by doing it virtually. And then of course, you have spin down. So if you want to do something live, you can go to spin down. But obviously with COVID, it's sort of a touchy thing. It's a touchy thing. And we got a lot of shit. Ken Harry and myself, we got a lot of shit about the whole masks. And my thing about the masks is, if I'm in a facility up close with people for 48 hours, the mask ain't going to help me. It's not going to help me being in the same facility with somebody for 48 hours. It's just not, you know, and we were still pretty distant. Like, we were normally pretty close, but we were still pretty distant. But my thing is, like I told Kelly, I don't have to justify anything to anybody, because I'm a grown man. And if they don't like it, fuck them. And if they still don't like it, and if they ever saw me on the street, I'd punch them in the face, because that's just me.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
But, I mean, hopefully next year can be a mixture. I think I think
a mixture would be good.
They could be digital and physical, because I do want to do the I've already told Kelly I want to do the pre-show again next year, but this time I want to come over and do it, because I want to do like a live red carpet thing, running around and that type of thing, and knocking on speakers' bedroom doors at 3 a.m.
I think next year's going to be big. I think next year's going to be big. There was 400 people continuous watching.
It was crazy, wasn't it?
2020.
And it was such a good show, having the professional team produce it as well.
They were great. They made life easy. When you walked in there, and it didn't look like a lot like behind there, but they had all the switches and everything, and they brought in like gigabit internet, which was really damn good. Yes. And I was shocked that, like, the stream didn't drop out. There was no issues. And just that fact that we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't have to worry about doing any of the camera switching and everything. And Kelly could focus on being a host, and we could just focus on the schedule.
Yeah, and I do want to very quickly shout out Kelly. Obviously, he doesn't need a shout out from a channel like mine, but I do want to shout him out, because he is someone that really helps the drone community, the hobbyists, the pro flies, the creators. You know, he's been so generous. He's been on my channel 2 or 3 times already.
He's a selfless guy.
Yeah, you know, allowing a small channel to take a crack at the pre-show was a great thing for him to offer, because he didn't know what it would be, whether it would be an embarrassment to him.
You're as small as you think you are, and the way I see it is this, man. You know what's cool about this niche of genre? When Billy and I always talk about this, is that technically you're not small in the drone space, because people will know who you are, and the drone space itself is sort of a niche down genre. So you're definitely on a mounting within this space. Now, obviously, outside of this space, whole different ball game. Yeah, but you know, you're as big as you want to be in this sphere.
No, so which is how we always try and make it. Hence the production looked like it did, because I always try and make things as if I've already got 1 million subscribers, if that makes sense, which obviously, you know, I actually don't want to get to 1 million subscribers for all sorts of reasons, but I try to make it as if the channel's bigger than it is, only because then you're evolving, you're trying your best, you're constantly trying to tweak things and make things a little bit better, because I enjoy it as well. I enjoy the hobby of drones, but I also enjoy the hobby of YouTube greatly.
Yeah, and it is a good hobby. It's fun. It's fun to do this. Like, there's times where, like today, I you know, we were talking before the stream. I was talking to you and Paul, and I said, I don't know if this shit's gonna happen. What's up, Paul? You okay?
I saw you. It's a painful story. I was really worried about you today.
So I didn't know. Well, I told Sean too, because I actually told him, I said, the stream's not gonna happen, Sean. there's too much going on. So I was telling Chris before, I said, I decided, so two things happened today. One, I made the decision that I had to part with my carpet python, Evie. She was just getting too big and too aggressive. And with me traveling so much, it's too much for me to maintain her size. She's 7.5. She's almost 7 feet long now. And I said, you know what? I had to get rid of her. So I ended up taking her out of the office. Well, on top of her enclosures where I used to have the 3D printers, and it was a spot where I can charge things. It was like a whole spot. So when you take something like that out of the office, it was a shit show. I showed you the photo. It looked like a bomb went off in the office. Yeah. So in the whole process of that, I knocked out the internet here because the modem. Ouch. So, and then the neighbor, fucking guy, he's out there cutting stuff in the yard. So that was a whole nother issue. So we weren't even sure if we were going to get this going. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do what I can do. I'll figure out the internet. We figured out the internet, got that fixed. They helped. And then I just kept cleaning and organizing things. See, I'm like, I guess I don't showcase it, but I'm very, I'm anal retentive when it comes to things in the office. Like things have to be in a certain spot before I start a new project. I have to clean up one mess before I can mentally get into the next mess, which streaming takes its own thing. I got to set a camera up. Lights have to be done. And then you have to go through show prep. People don't know that. They don't see that. They just see the final product, just like the videos. They just see the final products, but they don't see any of the behind the scenes of what it takes to create. So like, I'm very like neurotic when it comes to that. So I was really not in the mood to stream. I was telling Paul, I said, well, I guess you can do the show tonight without me. And he was prepared to. He was ready to do it. He was ready to do it.
Yeah.
He is. He's been very helpful.
That would have been fun.
I think it would have went off fine. I think it would have went off fine because he has a lot to obviously talk about with Chris, even though Chris was not at camera camp. We found out Chris was not at camera camp. I think it would have been fun, but having you on tonight was one of the things I wanted to do because I tried it. My goal for Drone Brews, this is the goal, is that we try to have one creator that has to do with just content creation, not necessarily drones, right? And then I have one creator that just revolves and very heavy around drones. I try to find a balance because one of the things I want to introduce people to is, okay, if you're going to be a content creator, you want to make content, you got to have both ends of the spectrum.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Jaron, thank you very much, man. GeekSpawn is a professional. He's got a very professional. He says you should have 1 million subs, man.
You didn't see my first live stream last year. It was fantastic. It was I think it was October, and my PC froze up twice in the first 5 minutes, and then after about 7 minutes, just turned off.
So
and it was just black.
What are you using to stream now? Are you using StreamYard, Sean?
No, I use OBS.
Okay, you're a far better man than me.
Only because the only thing I hate about any of the StreamYards or that type of thing is my OCD couldn't handle it if someone else's stream looked the same. Does that make sense?
Ooh, that does. You know, my thing was that was my same thing, but after trying to bring people in with XSplit and then constantly dealing with audio looping.
Well, the thing I found, which has revolutionized my streams, because I used to bring NDI Skype into OBS, which was a nightmare because Skype is terrible, and every update just ruins it. Yeah. I actually now bring Zoom into OBS.
Really? How do you do that?
It looks just as good as this, and the good thing there is someone as long as they've come into Zoom, and everyone knows how to use Zoom. So when you say to a guest, "I'll bring you in via Zoom 15 minutes," so they're completely relaxed. They're okay, and then we actually don't need to do tech tests with our guests.
So is your camera in OBS through Zoom? So you're starting.
That's right. Yes.
So you're starting your stream in OBS, but you can control the output.
No. I literally bring my camera's at the top, and then my co-host and my guest are exactly the same as we've got here, but the other way around. But at the bottom, that is actually bringing Zoom into OBS.
We may need to sit down and go over that because that sounds.
It works really well, and then I have two scenes set up, and then when the guest leaves, my Zoom obviously shrinks, and I have another scene, and then we're side by side, which I use the Stream Decks. which obviously worked really well with OBS, and just punch through the scene.
I had a Stream Deck, but it was playing havoc on my computer. It kept crashing. There was something with the driver, and I just said, screw it. I'm just going to give it away. I used the StreamYard for simplicity's sake, because what happens is about at this hour, I've had 3 or 4 beers. Things start going sideways. Paul can't control absolutely anything, and the show completely goes off the rails. I mean, it's usually tonight. I've kept it together because I know I have to edit a client video shortly after the stream. It's down to business, brass tacks. So, but Sean, I appreciate you coming on tonight, man. I got to tell you, man, I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you.
I
really appreciate you having me on. It's been great. And because this is kind of like a spin-off thing for me as well.
Yes.
And I've really appreciated that. A lot of people have reached out to me, and it's been fantastic. I feel another 5% within the community, if that makes sense. I feel a little bit more within the drone creator community, which is
no, you're already there, man. You're absolutely already there. Brad Hendo, never heard of you before. He said new sub tonight to Geeks Vana.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of people that don't know who Sean is. So if you didn't, you're new, you're just joining the stream, you're seeing this after the fact, down in the description, you got Chris Brockhurst, a link to his channel down there. You've got Geeks Vana's channel down there. And then, of course, you've got Paul, producer Paul has his own channel, so you can check him out there. And if you're wondering why the descriptions look so pretty, well, that's Paul. Paul has he's been meticulously grooming. Every time I post a video, it's like I knocked over Legos, and then he goes behind and fixes everything up. He fixes everything up nice. So thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much, Paul. And Sean, thank you so much for joining me this evening, man. You're welcome back anytime on Drone Brews, man.
And you'll have to come over to our drone show live and meet Lib.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Our co-host and have some fun over there with us, because I'd like to see because we have 0 adult words on the stream. I'd like to see if you could come across and break the stream for us, because I actually tried to play one of your videos, the Amazon one where you hilariously said, F this, and walked off with your backpack, and I was waiting for that funny moment for the audience. I thought that's really going to show people the two sides to your content.
Sure.
And the video froze.
Oh no!
Right before the F-bomb.
Yeah.
I thought OBS knows. OBS is trying to save.
That was the only F-bomb in the end.
Ken told me, he goes, I've never had so many bleeps in a video until you've been on my channel. He goes, it was like every other word. Bleep, 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 bleep. I got to tell you, that was the scariest situation that I've ever had since flying FPV. Was flying with him.
The alligators?
No, not even that. Not even that. Before that, we're flying. Ken and I, we decided after dinner, because we had a great freaking dinner. And we're like, we're not done. And we decide, this is after spin up, we're gonna go fly that building again, and we were having fun. I'm gonna tell you right now, he absolutely loves flying FPV. Like he gets the biggest kick out of flying.
It suits him though. He loves speed in his car. He loves riding a motorbike and things. FPV should be right up his alley.
He loves it. Like he gets a kick out of it, and he's not like hell bent on I got to do this or I got to perfect this, or he doesn't care about that. He's just having fun.
Nice.
And so I dove the building. And I joked with him about Tennessee. I said, when I come up to Tennessee, we're gonna have to play like a game of horse. And I said to him, I was joking with him after, I said, I'm glad we weren't playing horse, because I would have had to lose my drone as well, because I dove the building. And so he goes and dives the building. And I kid you not, because I was watching through the goggles and I saw the breakup, because I was riding along with him, and I flipped the visor up and I see the drone falling. And from my vantage point, I thought it was falling into traffic.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been. It shows that he knew where the drone was, because then
he knew where it was.
But I could see that, because there was the freeway beyond that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not saying this proudly, but I was already packing up my shit, getting ready to run. I was like, oh fuck, we're gonna go. I was already packing up my shit. But then it hit me in the middle of packing up the shit. I'm like, they already know who he is, because it goes down, because these air units are activated. It's not like an FPV drone, right?
Of course.
You crash an FPV drone or something with analog, doesn't matter who you are, unless there's a GoPro on it, but it doesn't matter, right? So I was like, so when it was a big relief when we figured out that it didn't, but the fact that he found it, man, it was, holy shit, awesome. That made for a great weekend.
Yeah, that was the perfect end to it, wasn't it? Because the content that came out of Spin Up was really cool this year as well. Like I enjoyed your vlogs. I enjoyed Ken's sort of videos behind the scenes and that type of thing, and like the impromptu live stream afterwards from when you guys went flying and that type of thing. It all worked really, really well. There wasn't like with a lot of corporate type events, you get a lot of the same content.
No, we were trying to keep it lighthearted. You know, we sort of had like, immediately after the event, him and I sort of went off on our own and went flying downtown with Chris Rawlings. We found an awesome spot to fly. And there was an orchestra. This is funny. We just never made it on video, but there was an orchestra. We didn't know that. And I kept buzzing the orchestra. I couldn't see them. But apparently they come over and they're like, hey, can you guys stop? We're trying to film. There's an orchestra over here. I was like, oh, shit. And then he's like, oh, let's go dive these cranes. Well, my dummy self comes down off of it. I guess I could have lost the drone too, because I hit the rebar pretty hard, almost losing one on top of a construction building. But it was just.
Did you just claim that you were doing that stick trick?
Yeah, that's
like when it carried a cane. Or did you say, "Did you see that? I stuck that. Thank you."
Well, he saw because when I fly, he'll typically have his goggles on the same channel so he can watch. We try to with DJI. We only one fly at a time, because sometimes I've noticed where multiples are flying, it can get a little goofy with DJI.
Yeah, I hear that with the audience mode doesn't. You have to be. Is it 6 meters apart or something? You have to stand
it's something goofy. And then the audience mode, you'll get a lot of breakup, but where the pilot's not getting any breakup, so you're sort of getting that reused garbly signal, which is sort of unfortunate that they do that. But all in all, I think we had a good time. I don't know if he's going to spin down on Friday. I'll be heading out of Florida at 2:00. I get on a plane at 4. I'll be in Colorado. I think I touch down at 6:30. I'm driving directly to Dilling, so I'll be there about 8:00. So if anybody's going to spin down, you want to drink, you want to have fun, the fun bus arrives at 8:30. So
you need to put some GoPros up in the corner of the rooms and just press record and forget about them.
Oh,
the footage that you'll pick up in some.
Oh, it's going to pick up. Brad Hendo asked if I'm renting a car. I rented a truck and I got a really good deal on a truck thanks to Brad Hendo. So thank you, Brad, for the exemplary hookup for that. So Ken Herron will not be at Spin Down, but Kelly will be there. Sean will be there. I will be there.
Oh, excuse me, Bob. Is he going to be there?
I think Kelly said he's going. He bought a ticket. He's something about legal ramifications and things of that nature.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure it's going to be a shit show.
You need to bring your lawyer.
It's going to be fun. There's supposed to be 50 people out there. So we'll see how that's going to go. We'll see. All righty. Sean, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. Again, you're welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Paul.
I'll see you next time, buddy.
Good.
Thanks.
Sean's a good guy. I like Sean. Man. Great guy, man. Great conversation. Like, is his voice not sensual? Does it feel sensual to you? Like,
yes, very nice.
Like, I'm gonna try to do my best Sean impersonation.
Like he should be in the Jarvis, the AI.
Jarvis, yes, Jarvis. Like, I can't even do it, dude. It's so deep and man, it's fuck. I want him to sort of be my ringtone. Like, can I make him my navigation for Waze? I would make Sean my navigation for Waze. Like, he would be my Waze navigation. So let's take a look. Who is going? Brad Hendo, hook you up with the phone case. Do we have phone cases now?
What?
We have phone cases?
We don't have phone cases, do we?
Apparently we do. Brad is saying I do. I'll have to hook Brad up with a shirt. I gotta hook him up with the shirt. We gotta do it up. I saw Zachary said I'll be leaving here from DFW tomorrow morning. He's arriving at Dillon at 8 p.m. I guess if I had to do all this over again, I would have flew out tomorrow. I would have flew out tomorrow. But then it doesn't make sense because Lon, who I'm bunking with, I'm staying with Lon. He's not leaving till tomorrow. So Lon and I are going to arrive in Dillon, Colorado at the same time. And then we're just going to burn the town down. We're just going to go ham on the whole shebang.
Dangerous.
Oh, it's going to be good. But from now until then,
the Hero 9?
I'm bringing the Hero 9 because I can't bring an A7S3. Fuck me in the freaking rack.
Wow. Well, we're not going to go there.
What the hell, dude? Why is it back ordered? Why, dude? Why? It's supposed to ship tomorrow, Sean. Fuck me. Why am I am just freaking losing it, Paul. Damn it, Paul.
I mean, I've been called worse names before, so.
I know. You know what it is? It's that damn voice. Get out of my freaking head. It's like a mind worm. It's in my head, the voice.
Original. Oh, I can't even do it, man.
What are you doing? You're going to try to do my impression? I don't have an impression. I don't have a voice there, Paul. I think this was a sufficiently fun stream, even though tonight I was not feeling it, dude. I have the video. I've got to get a client video banged out tonight. So tonight's going to be another. How would you say?
So I'm glad you came through.
I'm glad I came through too, Paul. Yeah, I like the way we
want to do it without you. So it's I mean, I would have done it without you, but it's a lot better with you. Thank you.
Would it have been the same without me, Paul?
No, it's never the same.
No, I don't think so. I think this worked, Paul. My office is cooler now that I don't have that big enclosure pumping heat. I feel like it's cooler in here. This is good. All right, Paul. Paul, you have a video launching Friday, right? You have your very first video. I was supposed to make some cameos in the video, but shit didn't work out. So you're piping shit together to make it interesting.
I got some very fun stuff. Let's just put it that way. So if you got to watch the whole video, because let's just say there's some good cut-ins with.
I didn't eat my fucking turkey sandwich, Paul. It's delicious
dinner?
Turkey sandwich.
I mean,
dude, I haven't eaten it. I didn't eat shit. This is lunch. This is dinner of champions. This is why I think mentally I'm not with it, dude. I didn't eat any breakfast. I didn't eat any lunch. I drank 4 or 5 beers today.
I was worried about
and
you.
then I'm eating a shitty. This is a gas station. This is a shitty gas station wrap. This is a shitty gas station wrap.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't go near those. That's disgusting. I mean, I would have at least gone to a Wawa.
I mean, the reality is, when I get married and this next time, like my next marriage, first thing I'm gonna say is, do you understand YouTube? Do you understand that I'm gonna buy a lot of shit and there's not gonna be any explanation? Do you cook? And how well do you order DoorDash? Those are gonna be my like requirements. Okay. I think this finger's broken. I don't know. I have a lot of things, but that's the thing. I don't even care. Like, I don't even care if she's she can be like a solid 5 or 4. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with a 4. Like, honestly, if you think about it, here's my thought process. A 4 is going to work hard to be at least a solid 7. Okay. Again, fuck. This is why I don't have a female audience.
This
is bad. Anyways.
I'm gonna have to text your wife and talk to her. This is not, I don't want to be the bad guy here.
It's fine. I'm already in the doghouse tonight, Paul.
I mean, you're gonna be. It sounds like you're gonna be sleeping in your man cave making.
I'm already in the doghouse, but again, I think here's what I think. I have a theory. I think that the dislikes on the stream come from feminist women who dislike me. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but I think they could be feminists. I feel like there's a lot of definitely insulting things on this channel. I am so proud of it. I'm
not really an insulting person, but I might have come across a little assaulting in the beginning of my Friday video. I'm really sorry. I don't really mean it.
What did you say?
Well, I didn't call you stupid, but
you did. You called me stupid there, Paul?
I said you're untrust. No, I didn't say that. I don't remember what I said. But I did throw an F-bomb right in the beginning of this.
Did you've never cursed, Paul? You've never cursed.
I might have to bleep it out.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I can't wait to see your video. Paul's video drops on Friday. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Drone Brews. And Paul, do you have anything else for us tonight before I play the outro?
Yeah, I do.
What you got?
Stay original.
God, Paul, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to, yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Well, I saw that. I was on Instagram, and then I saw that, and then I was like, what are you doing? Are you dancing to the music? Are you literally dancing to the music?
I was pole dancing, man.
You don't even have a pole. What were you doing?
It was a light pole.
Paul, damn it, Paul. And why is there so much ass crack on the stream tonight? There's been crack for days, Paul.
That was a lot. I didn't expect to see that one.
Oh my God! I'm gonna have to put an ass crack emoji. Is that even legal, Paul? Paul, were you twerking?
Is that gonna get a strike? Do we need to take that out?
No, we're gonna get demonetized, Paul, with that much crack. You had more crack than the Pasco strip clubs.
That was pretty terrible.
Oh Jesus, Paul! My eyes, the poor eyes, Paul. Ah,
people
don't
Paul. Need to see that.
Paul, people don't need to see that, Paul.
My wife would be so unhappy with that one.
She may be happy. She may be happy with you, Paul. She could be.
No. Unhappy. She never wants to see that either. Never.
Oh, well, good. Makes all of us, Paul. Good for you.
Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah.
Oh, fucking Paul.
I'll react if I had to.
Hey, Paul, can you hear me? All right, you can hear it. All right. Oh, shit, man. What a fucking show, dude. Did you ever, have one of those days where it's just like, no matter what happens, it's a good fucking day, dude? It's always a good day, dude. All right, that's it.
Cool.
Good show. Good show, dude.
You have a lot of editing to do, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Are you happy with that? Are you really happy? What's that?
How late do you think you'll stay up doing that?
Probably for a while, dude. I'll probably stay up for a while.
What do you have? One house? Two?
No, it's a farm. I did a farm. It's
The
a farm
farm.
fly through. Yeah, I used the FPV drones, the farm fly through.
So the actual inside tour will be the FPV drone?
Oh yeah. It's gonna be the FPV drone. It's gonna be the FPV
the
drone.
first one you've done using inside.
I've never used FPV like this before, so it's gonna be interesting. I don't know how it's gonna come out. I'm gonna try to make it work. I told the agent I don't have high expectations for it, but fuck it. Full send, right? Bro, the fact that you were twerking was hilarious. I can't get that out of my head right now. I don't know why. It's like a brain tumor or something. What a shit show tonight was, bro. What a shit show. I'm probably gonna have another one, edit this down, fucking pack, because I have to pack. I have not packed. Shit. Nothing. Impact nothing. And then reload for the next shoot tomorrow. Fuck this. I should have. I sort of feel like canceling on this agent though.
They would hate you for that, but
you know what though? If I'm not motivated,
you're busy enough, so
I don't need that shit. And the A7S3 is not fucking shipping apparently, so there's that. And I need a haircut.
I had high hopes that it would ship, but I didn't think we'd get in if we were so late.
I don't know.
Maybe, I mean, who knows?
We got to start, we got to stick to a tentative timeline too for our streams. I was thinking we've been doing like an hour and a half, but not like, I cannot believe we fucking started the stream today. Didn't even hit live. Didn't even hit fucking live. And we're sitting there talking like two dumbasses and we didn't hit fucking live, dude. I
was like, what the? I was looking at, I didn't even notice it. I was looking at the StreamYard.
I couldn't believe, dude. When I saw that I'm looking at the YouTube page and I'm like, how come the stream's not live? I'm seeing the chat going. I'm like, nothing's adding up to me. And then I look at the live button and the live button's not live. And I'm like, fuck me. And I'm not with it today, dude. Some days are like that.
We're got a crazy day today. I mean, I don't know. I'm not looking at the. Hey, wait.
What?
I'm looking at the stream. Oh,
what?
No, you did it again, didn't you?
What? What?
You're screwing this up, man.
What did I do? It's you doing this. What did I do?
Do you know how to use StreamYards?
Fuck me, dude. I didn't hit end again. God damn it, dude. Son of a bitch. One of these days, we're gonna get an effective stream ending. We're gonna maybe you're
ever gonna get an effective stream ending.
You just be in control of the buttons because clearly I'm just son of a bitch.
I need to be able to press the buttons.
Oh yeah, I just went to YouTube. We're still live. Fuck. Well, the stream is officially demonetized at this point with the level of F-bomb notification. Who called me? I get a lot of it, man. A lot of spam, dude. A lot of spam. All right, well, fuck, we were still live. Shit me. Sorry, Paul. I am severely sorry.
What am I getting paid for?
You're right. And that is my bad. I'll click the end button. I'm
not